meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. Hello, USA.
Greetings, my friends.
I am too. Here we are.
Here we
We're
are.
live.
Excellent.
Better. All right. Well, thank you guys for taking the time out, and I'm glad we got this thing figured out because it was getting a little crazy, especially Sunday where it was like I think we took it was like almost 90 minutes and then just forget about it. It's like it's not gonna.
Yeah.
It wasn't gonna. But at least it works now.
We've cracked Zoom.
So, like I said, thank you again for taking the time out, and
You're welcome.
I've been, I want to say, a fan of the band for slightly over 20 years. I got, I think it was in the late 90s, no, in the early 2000s when they did the Inside Out reissue albums. Some of them, the early ones, had bonus tracks.
Yeah.
Especially the Sentinel. I think they restored it to how it was supposed to have been.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, there were some remixes.
And I guess the tracking was redone. I guess how you guys wanted it to be done.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of I posted on Facebook the other day. I said that's one of my favorite 80s prog albums.
The Sentinel.
I like that one. It has that this epic feeling. Well, from the shorter songs to the longer songs, it's like it's just right all up there. And I just think it's, like I said, it's one of those fantastic albums that came out in the 80s, along with many others from the UK.
Yeah.
Like your I guess you call your contemporaries like IQ and Marillion and 12th Night, which 12th Night I kind of have a little higher liking than let's say Marillion. Kind of, although I do like a lot of Marillion, but then when Fish left, it just became a different band. I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was very much Fish's band, wasn't it? It was Fish was the focal point, and yeah, I know what you mean. When he left, I think they had a difficult time to kind of get their equilibrium back.
Exactly, and I think that happens a lot when bands change their singers. It's like people that like the previous singer aren't that welcoming of the newer singer, and it's like, and sometimes they expect the new singer to sound like the old singer.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just, I mean, you do get people that I guess can train their voices to sound like Fish or to sound like Peter Gabriel or stuff like that. But it's like, I think you got to have an original voice, and if it doesn't sound like the guy before, just going from Euan to Alan and then to Paul, and it's like, they're three different distinctive voices, but I think they all represent Pallas.
I think what was quite funny was way back in the start. Graeme will probably concur with this. Is every time we auditioned a singer or a new one, we made them sing the same song, such as "Yours is no disgrace" because it's very, very high, and stuff like that. Yeah, so poor auditionees, having to go for all these same songs. But as you said, they all turned out different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Paul is a little more on the aggressive side with his, and kind of more, I want to say more rock oriented. And Euan has a more prog voice, and then Alan is right in there in between, at least for my ears, how I hear it.
I think,
And
I think what kind of helped was that there was a consistency running through it, because I do a fair bit of singing and have done from day one. So my voice is on quite a few things on the albums, and it gives a continuity of, it's not, if you were an early fan of the band, there was a thread running through to later on. Oh, good heavens, I've just been joined by 2 dogs.
are they the backup singers? Oh, we got
yeah.
someone coming in here.
They're the howlers.
We have a
Euan, hello.
Hi,
Oh my
Mike.
God.
How you doing?
We've just been talking about you, Euan.
Hi, Michael.
You got
nothing good.
You got the COVID beard.
Is that Ron there? Hi, Ron.
Yeah.
God almighty, that's some beard you got there.
No,
man.
it's just Euan. The beard's cut Graeme last weekend.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't quite Mike B, but it was getting there.
No, you have a few feet to go to
Aye.
get to Mike's. That's right. My backing singers have just left the room, so it's good to see you, man.
And you guys. Mike woke me up at 4 a.m. with a text message.
Rock and roll.
That's it.
Or prog and roll.
Rock and roll.
Yeah, I was just telling the guys that, how, Pallas has the 3 different singers, recorded singers over the years, and how each one of you guys have a distinctively different sound, but yet it's the Pallas sound. You have more of a, what I call the kind of the prog voice. Paul has the more rock voice, and then Alan is right in between.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and I was telling Mike the other day that I was watching one of your infamous songs on YouTube.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I was like,
what could that be? Infamous, Ron? What could that be? Go on.
Give you a clue.
if I get the answer right first time, is it a prize?
A bloody kitchen knife.
Yes. Other brands are available. So did you have a ripping good time listening to it?
Oh yeah, I've watched that over the years a couple times. There's that Blinding Darkness DVD that was put out, and I was telling Mike, I said, there's 3 songs from the 80s UK prog scene that always, for me, kind of go together. It's The Ripper,
Mm-hmm.
Enemy Smacks,
mm-hmm.
and Creep Show.
Yeah,
it's like
the darker side of prog.
Right, right, and it's like, and I got to see IQ. I told him I got to see IQ back in '93 here in the States when I was living in Los Angeles, and that kind of got me onto more the deeper side of UK prog, because before then, I knew of Marillion, I knew of obviously Yes and Genesis. So it's like, but then to find out that there was so much more out there, it's like, it's like you go down a rabbit hole. It's like you find out a band, and then someone else says, "Oh, well, you like this band? You're gonna like this one," and then you keep on going, and then all of a sudden your wallet is empty.
Yeah, I can see that behind your back. Yeah.
And
If only our bank account was full. Sadly.
yeah, and it's unfortunately I never got to see you guys, and I'm hoping maybe after this pandemic and things start opening up properly, you know, that you guys come back to America, as you know.
Well,
I think the only place would be, honestly, right now seems to be either that Ross Fest or Cruise to the Edge.
yeah.
Because all the other festivals are seems to be gone.
Yeah, we did one in Nazareth. That was in was in a university, I think. Did a festival there.
Was that the Near Fest one you guys did with
Near
Alan?
Fest.
Near Fest, was
Fest,
it
yeah.
before the Rosfest one where you asked me across? I think was that a
Yeah.
couple of years before?
Yeah, I think so,
2003
yeah.
was that Rosfest, and Near Fest we're doing about 2000 maybe 201.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was
Only guessing,
2000.
Graeme, I wasn't there.
Yeah, it's like I think at the time I was living on the West Coast of the United States, and it's like now that I'm on the East Coast, I'm up in Maine, which a lot of times our weather mimics your weather.
Yeah.
Rap.
Yeah, I think we get a good 2.5, 3 months out of the year of nice sunny days, warm days where you got to break out the air conditioning. But other than that, it's cold and dreary.
Yeah. Cold and dreary. Welcome to Scotland.
Mhm. Well, I had hailstones on the way across the bridge home from work tonight, and
Yeah.
that's today.
That's what I
And
said to
this
Ron.
this red isn't high blood pressure. That's sunburn from last weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we call our weather here bipolar because one day it could be sunny, and next day it's down to freezing levels, and I can never know how it's going to be.
Don't know, yeah.
You know, am I going to wear the big jacket or am I going to wear the light jacket? And it never fails.
It's the heavy jacket every day. Or
You take a jacket off. If you don't have it with you, you can't put it on.
Yeah. I'm sitting in the house with a fleece on at the
Mike
end of
Stobbie,
April.
he'll be down in London, London.
T-shirt.
It's tropical
Yeah.
temperatures.
Tropical.
The
Yeah.
heat down there. Where are you,
Yeah,
Mike
that's-
Stobbie?
Canary Wharf.
Canary
Yeah,
Wharf.
He's
That's
in his
certainly
cage.
tropical, Mike.
I'll show you. I think I can show you.
I bet the temperature's in double figures there, Mike. We're in single figures here, man. I think we've reached dizzy heights of +4 today.
Is that a zenith rather than a nadir or nadir?
Right. Yeah, I showed the guys yesterday the Pallas CDs that I have. I'll show you.
Oh, yeah. I don't even have one
Uh-huh.
of these. You chancer.
I don't know it. I don't think any of us have got one. Got one of those.
Yeah, I got this when
Oh, I've got
They
2 or
put-
3 of those, all different versions.
then this one.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mikey B passed me on that one.
Just so you can see where I am.
Oh.
Hold on.
Oh,
Beat the drum.
is that Hong Kong, Michael?
No, it's London. Look at the height of that one.
I know.
The
Ouch. Just wonderful for me and my vertigo, eh?
Absolutely.
The roller
You're very
coaster's
welcome.
out of bounds. You'll
that's
not be getting a visit other than the pub, bud.
This is the last one I have. I know there's one
Yeah.
after.
XXV. I I'm proud of that one. I think it had a nice balance between the sort of symphonic side of things and the rocky side of things.
Right. Yeah, especially that one song, Monster.
Which one?
Monster.
Monster, yeah. It's a bit like, I always thought it could be a Bond theme. The guitar riff is quite Bondy.
But who would be playing 007, Graeme? That seems to be an ongoing thing. They change their 007s all the time, these guys.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I think it would have to be you, Euan. There's no
the spy
no
with no
doubt
face. Where's Mike Stobbie when you need to talk about the spy with no face? You remember that one, Graeme?
The spy with no face.
He walks into walls, falling down holes.
I take it that was after I left the first time.
Yeah.
No, you helped write that one. You played that with us down in
Did I?
Fife somewhere. The
God,
spy with no face.
you've got.
Is it
got,
Crazy
Coat and a
Uke or
silly
something?
hat.
It vaguely it rings a bell now, but that's a long time ago.
It was Lindsay's days. Everyone was there.
70s.
Walks into walls, falls down holes. He hasn't got eyes. Spy with no face.
Now that's a lyric.
How does the tune go?
I can't remember.
It was pretty forgettable, no doubt. But
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
not my finest lyric.
sometimes the simple ones are better.
Yeah.
Actually, but in this case, no.
But yeah, like, so I have an almost complete collection of the studio albums, and I know there's countless other things. I was looking at ones called the River Sessions.
Yeah. That was a sort of weird thing. The River Sessions albums. What happened was after we left EMI, there were a couple of guys that worked for EMI that somehow got hold of those and put out those albums, and we didn't know anything about them until they came out. They just had some of, I can't remember what all was on them now, but yeah, it was a strange arrangement because we didn't know anything about it until.
It's funny. It's funny some of the things that go on there. There's a friend of mine, Teo, who sound engineer who mixed the Arena album that I produced the first one. He called me up last week and he was at Effects Rentals in London. And the other week he'd been transferring the Rolling Stones master tapes onto computers. But this day he was transferring a 1980 or 1990 concert of Marillion at the Hammersmith Odeon. And I said, are they going to release that? He says, yeah. I says, well, the band knows nothing about this. so like, I think it was EMI for them as well. I can't remember, but
Yeah.
So they're doing that all behind their back. I'll have to give Mick a call because I'm still in touch with Mick Pointer.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I mean,
Surprise.
Yeah,
Right.
EMI.
Well, they IQ had something that was just released. I think the album was Living Proof. That they had no. Well, they didn't get it. I don't think they got any money out of it, and whether they knew about it or not. But it's like, I mean, I saw for you guys there was the DVD Pallas 1984 or 85 they put out. They did about the same year for IQ. I think they did one. I don't know if it was that same year, but they did something like that for 12th Night. I think it was maybe a couple years earlier.
Mm-hmm.
82, I think it was, and they put out these DVDs. And, you know, for people such as myself, you know, since I never saw any of those bands when they were, you know, in the 80s, so it's like it's perfect for someone like me and probably countless other people around the world. They could see those bands in their element when they were first starting out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you guys saw any money for those either.
No, I don't think we ever saw any money for anything. The thing was, Ron, that EMI seemed to be fairly keen to get the prog thing going. What happened was that we, our manager at the time, Harry Maloney, God rest his soul, he was quite chummy with one of the high up guys in EMI, and it became apparent that they just didn't understand what the prog bands were doing. You know, they were listening to music and they were seeing that there was a fan base for it, but they just didn't understand it. And I think, Euan, were you with me? We went into Manchester Square and met the guy, Malcolm Hill, the promotion guy.
Yeah.
And we were talking to him, and we were a bit pissed off. We were a bit hacked off at the
highly miffed.
Miffed. Yes, we were slightly disappointed to find that we didn't seem to be getting many as much press as Marillion was getting at the time, because we're both signed round about the same time. And I remember we were in that room, Euan, and Malcolm Hill was the guy. I probably shouldn't mention him. Probably dead now. He was the guy that we were speaking to, and I said, "Well, you know, why is it that they're getting all the press coverage and we're not getting any?" He said, "Well, it's as simple as this, Graeme. They're a pop band and you're heavy metal."
That'll be why there was all these big cardboard cutouts in every record store of jesters and things. Yeah. Jesters seemed to crop up everywhere in those days.
Yeah, yeah, true. And it was like, I remember thinking, oh shit, we're doomed.
Now,
You've got us.
And speaking of gestures, years later, like in mid-90s, I want to say, I was going through a phase of buying anything prog, you know, especially, you know, there were some Italian ones that were kind of mimicking the 80s UK sound. And there was one, I believe they were called Black Jester.
Oh, I know the name.
Another one. More jesters.
Just imagine, from my recollection, imagine a Marillion sound or style singer like Fish, but prog, but done speed metal prog. It just didn't in Italian, you know.
Andiamo.
And you heard how the guy was struggling with the English lyrics, and it's like, you know, just be your own person, you know. And
He's maybe from Aberdeen, Ron. He's maybe from Aberdeen. Struggle with English lyrics there as well.
But you know, and like you were saying with EMI doing what they did, there's an American band here called Echolin, and back in 94, they got signed to Sony Records. Now, later to find out that they were only signed to be a write-off.
Wow.
Because right after they played one of the prog fests in Los Angeles, and right after that, Tony just dropped all, publicity for them, whatever they had, and locked up, basically, wrote them off, got them out of the record contract, and locked up their name for about 5 years. They couldn't use their name. They couldn't use any of their songs. They didn't get any royalties, and the band like broke off into two factions. The keyboard player went off and did a jazz fusion, and the rest of the band did kind of more of how a more rock version of their sound. And it wasn't until 2000 when they got the rights back to use their name. And it's like sometimes in that big record deal really isn't all that it's up to be,
No, you're right. I mean, what you want is a company that really believes in you and that is going to push you. I mean, you hear all these hard luck stories about the music business, but they are true. I mean, they're absolutely brutal. When we went off to record the Sentinel album in Atlanta with Eddie Offord, we kind of left. Before we left, we were told that they were looking to revive the oh God, what label was it? Harvest. Yeah, they were going to revive the Harvest label. There was a team, and we were going to be on Harvest, and there was a team behind us, and this was a team of guys that did believe in us and were working hard for us. And we went away. We recorded the album in Atlanta. We came back, and they'd all been sacked. We sort of arrived back with the album, and nobody knew anything about it. It was just bizarre. It was bizarre.
Got the same kind of support as well.
Yeah,
Looked into these huge venues and little promotion, little support.
Yeah.
Other than the hardcore fans that had turned up.
Oh, I remember we went to do a record signing in Hull, and we turned up at the, at the time they were heavily into doing record signings because it got people into the record stores buying albums, and we went into the, what was it? Was it HMV in Hull or something, which was owned by EMI, right? And we got there, and there was a queue out of the shop, and it was about 200 yards down the street. People wanting to get their albums signed, and there were no albums in the shop.
Sure. Look for the gatefolds that came out with it, the posters that were included to get them signed by everybody.
Yeah. What they had to do is we were in HMV, all standing there like a bunch of dicks, and the fans had to run down the street to a sort of independent record shop and buy the album there and come back and get us to sign it in HMV. But HMV was the chart shop, so every album that was sold that day in HMV was to put us up the album chart. And they didn't manage.
Went another till.
Yeah, there were no albums. The EMI promotion people forgot to send them. It's, you just think, oh my God.
Yeah, that's what there's a lot of the prog bands nowadays that are self-producing and self-distributing. They got especially like that new. Well, it's not really new, Bandcamp, where you can either the person can either buy the digital version of the album or the CD. And personally, as you can tell, I like to have CDs.
Yeah, it's nice to have something to hold in your hand, isn't it?
Exactly, and I mean, I understand an independent band, they don't want to print up a lot of CDs and then they basically stay in a box somewhere for years. I mean, one of my friends' band, that he said he just found a box of like 100 of CDs that he put out of his album back in '95, and he found 200 of CDs just sitting there, and he said, I'm not pressing CDs anymore. He says, once they're gone, they're gone. And it's like, I understand from his standpoint, but then someone, you know, such as myself, that likes to have the physical media, you know, not only, you know, CDs, but the DVDs and Blu-rays. I like to have those. You know, I don't like having digital media because anything can happen with those.
Yeah.
You know? If you don't properly store them on a cloud, they could be gone. You know. I mean, granted, I put all these on a cloud for me to listen to on my different devices, but it's never going to replace the actual CD for me.
No, I agree.
Which I think that was just, to me, it was the most perfect media when it first came out. I was like, I hated cassettes. I absolutely hated those things. Majority of
I just heard yesterday that cassettes are making a comeback here in the UK. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
Pencils as well to rewind them.
when they snap, yeah.
Yeah, sellotape and pencils. Plenty of that going on.
Oh,
We'll be
yeah,
back in a
it's like,
second. We'll be back in a second, guys.
okay. But yeah,
While we're here, Euan, you haven't seen this. Stand by for a surprise.
No, it's not a check from EMI.
a long lost check.
Da, 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 da.
Strangely enough, I have one of those downstairs and it's signed.
Can you sign my one then,
Great,
please?
eh? Sorry, Michael.
Can you sign my one then, please?
I know, sweat.
Right through, you know, science.
Brilliant, eh? I remember that photograph getting taken somewhere down the south coast during a tour with that bomber. What was I thinking? A leatherette helmet. Could nobody tell me nobody looks good in a leatherette flying helmet with a gas mask?
Imagine if
That's
you had
why
that
they
beard.
had that. You were 2,000, 20,000 feet in the air. Nobody saw you.
Little logo.
Yeah, two of those bands are still going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very much so.
Yeah, I
been
think
in touch with
I think
Mark
Solstice-
Bloxage recently. So I speak to him quite often on Facebook and things. Mark Wookie from Trilogy. You remember him, the big red-headed bass player? He's quite active on Facebook and things. Solstice, I bought the new albums here recently there. I've been at the old renewing albums and things that have been disappeared. Graeme, where are you going?
Back.
Oh, I thought you were away to get us toast or something.
No.
Rowies, please.
Yeah.
You following all the Scottish stuff, Ron?
Oh yeah.
Rowies. You won't know what they are. They're a
Butteries or
local,
rowies? Which side do you put the butter on?
the flat side.
Is that the top or the bottom?
Yeah, well, depends which way you drop it onto the floor.
Working with a couple of lads from Keith now at the distilleries that came down and get reminded of Dalrymple Hall events at the Broch and further north and other places, and that's an ongoing discussion. It keeps my Doric going strong, like.
I'm in.
Speaking to him.
That was the fun place where the roadies dropped my ham and down the outside stairs.
The icy outside stairs at Fraserburgh.
Yeah, down a fire escape. Oh dear.
So what was it?
Young and fit.
We're having a
was
big
it?
reminisce here, Ron.
Oh, hey, that's what this is for. It's for you guys. You know, like I don't. Someone was asking me before, about a few weeks ago, when they were coming on. You know, do you have questions? You know, is it, you know, do we do a question and answer? Question and answer? I said no, we don't. I don't like those because it doesn't allow the artist to share stories, because they get, especially when you get the question sent to you in advance, and it's like, oh, I got to answer that question again and again. You know, it's like everybody asks the same questions, and it's like and you're getting the same answer. So it's like, you know, you don't need that anymore. You just need something where the band can just talk about and reminisce things and promote whatever they're doing. Because I'm really all about doing this for you guys, because your music has touched me, and I like to make sure that people that don't know about you know about it. You know, because it's your Pallas is a very important part of prog history, and I want if people don't, especially here in the States, you know, a lot of them, when I say Pallas, and they go, who's that? And then I have to send them a clip from YouTube and say, this is who they are. And it's like, you know, and I basically send a clip from each era, like a lot of journalists like to do, is like to say it's the Euan era, it's the Alan era, it's the Paul era, you know, it's like, and I try to give the best examples of each one so that people can see, okay, well, these were the different times in the band's history. So, you know, if you're expecting everything to sound the same, it's not. And that's, to me, that's a good thing, because you need to have change, or else why call yourself a band? You know, you can just be some rock band or some pop band, you know, that basically puts out this kind of the same material over and over again. And that's one of the things that draws me to progressive rock, is that it's all so different. You know, unfortunately, they're bands that kind of copy each other, but once in a while you get these bands that can kind of break out, you know, out of those, I call them the cookie cutter type bands, you know, because we still have them. I mean, there's a lot of bands that the singers either got to sound like Peter Gabriel, or they got to sound like John Anderson. It's like, you know, there's so many other, you know, others, if you're going to copy someone, there's so many other singers, but, you know, why not do something original and stay true to being a progressive rock band? And well, a friend of mine calls the bands that are trying so hard to sound like the 70s, he calls them retrog. You know,
regressive rock.
Yeah, it's regressive. Yeah, regressive rock. You know, it's like, you know, hey, those bands, they did something special then. The 80s had bands that did something special. The 90s was, so a lot of it was kind of like you had either the more extreme, you know, complex progressive rock out there, or you had bands that were being regressive. And it's like, you never, and I think there's just been like, in the late 90s was kind of like a revival of it. And then now I think, you know, it's like so much stuff coming out from bands from all over the world. And it's like, you can't catch up with it.
This is Michael.
Hey,
7-year-old Michael.
but likey Mikey, who's
You
your
can't-
doozloon?
He can't hear.
Hiya. How you
Yeah.
doing?
But likey Mikey, who's your doozloon?
Give us a wave.
Give him a wave.
Hey,
They're over there. The camera's over there.
Hello.
Hello.
aye,
Hello.
Woo!
Hello. Hello. Hello.
I was on the screens here. That's why it's looking at it.
Thank goodness we did. I thought we were getting hello, we are the Labour.
Let's see, Mummy, then.
Is that the audition?
He's not gonna leave. You are.
Mummy's calling.
Yeah. So
And just while we're all on screen, here's us on stage together.
Hello.
Mr. Me.
Where was that?
That was what was it called again? The Glasgow one in
Glasgow, Dylan.
the dial-in. Yeah,
Was it the Dylan with the big Swiss cuckoo clock for the drummer to sit under? Oh, Larry.
unfortunately,
Not
Larry's
following.
gone. And
Yeah,
Derek, the drummer, there, of course, as
Derek
well.
there on the other side. I don't know who that is in the groovy leather jacket, but there you go. That has got to be just post Balrog days, Mike.
Is it?
Going with that beard and hair.
That was Ruffles in Aberdeen.
Ruffles in the lunchtime.
And there's you and me playing Supper's Ready. I was playing the bass pedals.
Bass pedals, I was just have to try and work out which particular passage that was.
It was the beginning. Because I had to
Right
run
at
back
the
to I had to run back to the keyboards after that.
Still get pulled up with folk, I'll tell you, mate, still get pulled up with folk in Glasgow if I go out to bars. I bumped into that many folk that used to come and see us. You remember Magua and Areen? They come up and go, it was great. Dial in, echoes, supper's ready, and then we come out in the evening and hear your own stuff.
That's right.
We've got a great story from there, Ron. This club that we played in, the Dial-In, it was like a drinking hole, and we did a lunchtime session and then an evening session. And there were these two guys that would come in. We'd be loading the gear in the morning, and they would be coming in just as the place opened up, straight to the bar. And the first thing they did was they put money in the jukebox, and they always chose Freebird by Lynyrd
Skynyrd.
They thought, you Raj, you've stolen my story.
I'm not.
Yeah,
Nobody knows the rest of the story.
They would play it like 3 or 4 times. Freebird was like 10 minutes or something, and so you were hearing it 3 times over. And so they went off one lunchtime, and they came back in the afternoon, and they were both pissed. And they gone, "Oh, come and see my tattoo, big man." And the guy comes up, and he's at lunchtime. He got a tattoo with a Confederate flag, and underneath it said Lynyrd Skynyrd. And we were all pissing ourselves laughing. And he couldn't figure out what's the funny like. So nothing. Nice tattoo.
Aye, but then he came back and said, "Could you put your autograph in my arm? I'm going to get it tattooed next." I'll leave it in the other arm on someone else, mate.
Lynyrd Skynyrd. Classic.
I bet you if years later, after looked at it, what happened?
No, he probably picked up the album cover and said, "Oh, check this, they've spelt Lynyrd Skynyrd wrong.
They've changed their name. They split up. I can't. The singer died, but
Well, he could have started a Lynyrd Skynyrd cover band.
cover band. Yeah.
Oh, Lynn Skinwood, love it. Yeah, they were complete boheads.
There were some doozies, real some doozies.
Well, you
But
get
they travelled around faithfully. All these guys still travel
Yeah,
around,
they did.
guys and girls.
Yeah.
Can't knock them.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
that's-
truthfully, these were the heart and soul, always turned up. They were there at lunch times, because you remember those gigs. We'd do the covers at the lunchtime. The evening, because of the licensing laws in Glasgow at that time, they would only allow couples in, and it was male, female couples, not nowadays couples.
right.
So what would happen was, remember, the guys would all go out and try and pick up girls during Saturday afternoon so they could get into the gig in the evening. They'd be taking them out for dinners, curries, everything under the sun. There'd be all these couples sitting there, and about 15 minutes later, it was just all guys again. You've got us, and you can bugger off now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they had some, a lot of the American prog bands, in the 80s, there really wasn't that many.
No.
Saga,
Saga were excellent, yeah.
From
Canada, are they Saga? Were they Canada?
Yeah, Canadian, from Toronto, I want to say,
Yeah.
And then we had some bands, I don't know where they're from, a band called Netherworld, and I think they're from somewhere in southern United States, and they came out in the 80s, and you'd swear that they're from somewhere in the UK because they just fit so much into that scene that you wouldn't have known that they were from. It's down in the south somewhere, maybe in Georgia or something like that. And but they only did like one album, and that was it. And then a guy named Greg Walker here in the United States, he put out. He would find all these obscure prog bands, in the United States, and he would reissue them. They were out onto CD, and so it's like the people that never got to hear them for the first time, able to, and I'm sure there's probably been people in the UK that have put out stuff that has been like a band that just did one album and then they broke up for, because either they couldn't handle the touring or everybody had their own idea of where they wanted to go, and it wasn't and it basically breaks up the band, where it's like everybody wants to do something completely different, and they're no longer on the same page.
I think one of the problems now is that there just doesn't seem to be an outlet for rock music generally. Rock and prog. In the UK, the BBC have got a station for practically every kind of music: jazz, classical, numerous classical channels, African music, rap music, grunge music. But rock music does not have a platform anymore. Not at all. I mean, the only time you see a guitar is when they've got, somebody, a sort of singer with a backing band, and they'll be miming to make it look like their band. But there doesn't seem to be any sort of appreciation of musicianship and.
No.
It's the festival scene, Graeme. I think the festival scene here is it. It's such a small country, Britain, and the population, relatively speaking, compared to other big places in Europe and obviously the States, there just isn't the live scene to support touring musicians. I don't know how young guys are going to get through now, how they're going to get their stuff out there and learn their trade. More importantly, going round, like Mike knows this from way back in the day as well, whether it was clubs, working men's clubs and things, you learned all your stagecraft, or you learned how to deal with the hecklers, how to write, how to hone whatever skills you had. Were in these live circuits that just don't seem to be there.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
just
there were gigs everywhere, and now you hardly see any.
Yeah. Well, I had a friend of mine's band around 92, 93. Now they were more of a heavy metal band, but the guitar player and the bass player, they had prog roots, because their earlier version of the band, it was like drums, bass, guitar, and the guitarist was really into ELP, so he would mimic Emerson's keyboards onto the guitar.
Oh, okay.
So, and but when it came to going to clubs, they had this pay to play. You know, you give us $1,000 so you can play here. And it's like, no, it should be the other way around.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Mike does a mean Keith Emerson.
Where's my knife?
Yeah. What about Vincent Crane? There's a name going back in the day.
Yeah.
Vincent Crane.
We don't have
Atomic Rooster.
Alan. Yeah,
That's the one.
we don't have Alan Freeman as rock show anymore, because he used to play a lot of prog stuff. Marillion, Genesis, Pink Floyd, Pallas. You know, it's great back in the days.
And Tommy Vance, of course, as well. Late Tommy Vance as well.
Yeah.
Well,
that was it was a Friday. The BBC had a Friday night rock show, and it was great. And then it got binned. And Scotland, as a Tom Russell, who had a Friday night rock show and was great. And Tom's a legend in Scotland, and it got binned. You know, it's just like rock music's been the sort of people who control the media seem to just have written it off completely. And I don't understand it, because it's still
it's like they're telling the audience what they should like.
Yeah, that's right.
Whereas the audience in the 70s and 80s and part of the 90s, we chose the music. The audience chose the music, what we wanted to listen to.
Yeah.
You know, and the music today, especially the rock and pop music, at least here in the United States, the rock music sounds like, there's no aggression to it. There's no, it doesn't have that dirty sound that rock had in the 70s and in the 80s. I mean, it's like it's so over polished. The singers' voices, a lot of them are
all sound the same.
Well trained.
Auto-tune.
Great singers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot of great singers, but they've been trained with the same voice coach. And, if you look, I think, speaking from a point of not the greatest natural talent, but a lot of enthusiasm, I think you get your individuality through a lot more if you just go with what feels natural to you.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it gives the bands a different sound. It's the same.
Yeah.
If you think punk came along because there was a lack of individuality, everybody was so good at what they were doing, it was becoming mind-numbing. My God, unless you had a degree in music, sometimes you struggle to understand what some people were trying to do. You need a bit more earthy and a bit. Alice Cooper once said, rock and roll, it feels good when you're fighting, or another word that ends with thing and starts with F. You move your body.
Well, that's the whole thing. Rock and roll is not supposed to be something that's polished. You hear, the singer's not supposed to really be in perfect tune where it sounds like, almost like, you know, and the guitar players, you know, they do a certain thing. It's like they're no longer marketing music, they're marketing a commodity. They're not, you know, and they'll get like a young face to be the singer, and they'll get people that look like them, and then you have.
Well, we tried that with Euan, didn't work.
Yeah, I know, it was your fault. You know, this young pretty guy, you know, all clean shaven. He played with a really popular local band that wrote great songs, but he could bleed on stage.
Here's a little experiment. Ron, have you heard of Alan Freeman? Or
I heard of him, but I never heard it.
Well, I've got a treat for you. He used to be, he's dead, of course, now, which is a bit sad. But this works. This is live recording. Watch. So that's a bit of Marillion. Can you hear that?
No.
Sorry.
Not hearing it, Mike.
Oh, okay. So that's a shame.
You're
I'm dancing to my own tune. I'm guessing what it is.
I'll see if I can work out how you can hear that. Because if I go in speakers,
I think we had someone similar to that here in the States, especially in the 70s. Don Kirshner. He did something called Don Kirshner's Rock Concert, and you can find a lot of the shows on YouTube. And then there was another one called the Midnight Special, and I think every band of the 70s that was, you know, on the charts and on the radio, they would come on to this show, and it's like, I think they put out the big 18 or 20 DVD set of all the concerts that they've done, and it's like, but I'm sure you could probably find a lot of them on YouTube. I mean, everybody likes to upload stuff to YouTube, especially the out of print stuff or things that never originally shown, you know, recorded but not shown. And
okay.
We got a lot of that, you know, and I think in the 80s we had stuff that were more geared to that new wave scene. You know, they kind of, not so much rock, but it was then
Green Day sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of like that, you know, where it was kind of like that stuff, watered down punk, you know. It's like it was like safe punk. and you know, I think everything needs to, you know, if you're a rock band, whatever, whether it's punk, prog, you know, or heavy metal, you know, just sound, you know, like what you're supposed to sound, not what other people want you to polish you up and make you, you know, sound easier for the masses, at least what the publicists and the media think you're supposed to be. And it's not. I mean, look at what happened to a lot of the prog bands of the 70s when they got into the 80s. You know, they still sounded prog, but they were, I don't know, they sounded a little more polished and a little more radio friendly sound. You know, obviously like Yes doing "Owner of a Lonely Heart." I mean, it still had prog, but it wasn't close to the edge.
It was Trevor Horn.
Yeah,
Trevor Horn production. Yeah.
Right.
Good producer, but the real bottom line of this all is the bottom line. It's keeping the cash registers ticking over. You know, what's gonna keep the media interested, that's going to sell to the kids and keep the money ticking over. And if you can't kind of fit into that parameter or go with it, you're kind of marginalized and you tread water and sink or swim.
Right. And for them to tell us, the listener, what we need to listen to. And it's like, no, I don't like that. You know, I never liked it.
I mean, you know, it's funny because if you're at a party or something and somebody's playing pop music and then somebody puts on a rock track, the place comes alive, you know, and it just seems wrong that media executives should be dictating what kind of music we listen to and sort of saying, oh, rock, oh well, that's noisy and nobody likes it anyway. So it just doesn't get an airing anymore. It seems to me.
So guys, I'm going to try this experiment again. Can you hear me?
Right.
I can hear you.
Okay, so if I play this,
he's going to throw his organ out the window.
As long as someone doesn't climb up it. Rapunzel.
It'll be on international news.
It was a milestone, was it not, Marillion?
Oh, there he is.
Yester's tear. And incidentally, music lovers, I was just having a little thought while Marillion was playing, and I think that we've erred rather by ignoring some of the tremendous work from Pallas over the years that we haven't played in our Saturday, Sunday rock show for a long, long time. I can tell you that they're recording up in Aberdeen only again last week, but I want you to hear something that I think is absolutely stunning, right?
name that tune.
Dropping out.
Ah.
Put your togas on.
Cold night, New York. Hands like that.
And that's the one thing about you, Pallas, is you guys rocked. I mean, the others, you know, they had rock vibe to it, but you actually rocked. You know, it's like it didn't. Which, you know, I think that's what set you guys apart from your contemporaries.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, you know, I have a friend of mine, he was the one that actually turned me on to you guys. He said, you got to get this album. Okay. And he's been flawless over the years of recommending me things. So when he told me, Graeme moved. He moved.
No, my phone's running out of charge.
Oh. Yeah, he told me about Essential. You really got to get that CD. And I go, okay. Got it. And I, you know, I thank them countless times over the years. Thanks for, you know, for getting me into this band. You know, I wouldn't have known about them, you know, because in the States, basically in the 90s, we didn't know too much about UK prog, other than the 70s stuff.
Mhm.
And the more, since Marillion was more high profile because of, that video, that's the one that everybody here in the United States, once we heard that song and saw that video, that's how we got into the band.
Mhm.
And then, of course, going back a couple albums to get their first two, and then, completely different sound. It's like Haley, that Misplaced Childhood was like a very polished sound compared to the others. And like it's like we're playing musical chairs.
Yeah.
Just finally as well, on the subject of that song, because did anyone see what it was called?
Executioner.
Yeah, so here's Alan Freeman, Fluff Freeman at the end of the song, which you'll enjoy.
Lynch me.
Well, they certainly are brilliant, all right. That was taken from their 86 album, The Wedge. Pallas there with The Executioner. And incidentally, if that's what we had in 1986, can you imagine what we're going to get in 1990? The results of those Aberdeen recordings only last week. And not only that, but my MI5 spies tells me that the original keyboard player, Mike Stobbie, is coming back there. How you doing, Mike? All right? Very much. And in the meantime, what about a bit of this?
Genesis. Right in the middle of Marillion and Genesis was Pallas.
Yeah.
Now,
Good
how does it feel to listen back to those early days?
I always I find myself wondering how it didn't work out for us.
Yeah.
But we've kind of been speaking about that. It's just you're probably better with a smaller label that really believes in you than signing a major. And I think that was probably a mistake we made.
I think, in all honesty, I think a lot of young bands do fall into that.
You think you've got it licked the minute you sign to a major company, but you've got to have.
They know better. They know better than you. They stick their oar in and know better than you. And the fun ceases to be fun.
Yeah.
And what made you what you become changes. And it's not the same fun. It's not the same vibe and drive anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
For me, that's how I felt round about that time. It was like it was getting to be a chore rather than, God, I kind of look forward to the weekend and getting out there and gigging again.
I know.
Yeah,
It's
a lot of record labels have killed a lot of good bands out there.
absolutely.
I mean, luckily, we're having a lot of, I guess you call them revival labels that are putting out stuff. Like a friend of mine recommended me two bands that I never even heard of before. One was called Trillion, and another one called Zon, Z-O-N. And they were
Hi, Louise.
It's my wife.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Lee.
Hello.
Letting the dogs out. We'll let the dogs out. Come on, let's.
And my. What are you doing, you daft dog? Sorry. They always want to get in on the scene.
Oh yeah. But those two bands, never heard of them before. You know, Zon, I know is Trillion. I think they did. Well, their debut was in 1978, and I think they're a Canadian band, and they sound kind of like Styx in a way, but more kind of. I want to say a combination of Styx and Queen.
Yeah.
And when of course, when he told me about these bands, I went to YouTube, listened to it, tried to find the song of the albums, and someone bought them. And I think a lot of these bands that they go in with high hopes, one or two albums, and then they just disappear from the face of the earth, you know. And it's like people are unearthing the original tapes and remastering them, you know, so that new audiences can hear it, or audiences that are from that day that never heard it originally. And it's, you know, and a lot of the times those little bands are better than the big bands. I mean, because the big bands, you know, you obviously know what to expect from them, and they, you know, and the record labels, you know, obviously they control them, so they, you know, you know, that's the one thing I hear a lot of the stories of bands where they put out a hit single, the record label says, well, I want more songs like that, and it could have been a complete fluke that the band put out a hit single. But, you know, the record labels want, you know, more.
Yeah, well, we had the same thing from EMI. They wanted a single. But, you know, it didn't happen. Couldn't fit it into 3 minutes.
Well, then you would be like any other band that came out, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like many clones of the same, you know, of the in a sea of mediocrity.
They're little posers. Did you see them looking into the camera?
Yeah.
Guys, I think my son's iPad is about to crash out here. It's going red at 8%.
Yeah,
I sort of say, cracking to meet up with you guys. Lovely to meet you, Ron. Appreciate the invite. Great fun.
Oh, you're welcome.
But this is probably just going to crash off the face of the earth, like my life story.
Thank you for joining us. You know, I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good to see you, mate.
Yeah.
Good to see you too, Graeme. You look after yourselves, eh?
Yeah,
Catch up when you get down Glasgow way again sometime.
Yep. Well, that would be good. That would be good. I spoke to Tom recently, and he's keen to sort of get us back down there sometime, so it'd be good.
Yeah, he's got a new show and a different, was it Sport Radio? It's one of the independent ones, so he's got his rock show going again on another.
Yeah, I know. We need to, what we're going to have to do, if nothing else, is do a gig in Glasgow. That would be good, wouldn't it? Get everybody on there.
Probably before Christmas, Graeme, something like that. That seems to be a big bill. Probably before Christmas, you know, Joe and all his buddies.
Well, there's a lot of, you know,
Abel Gantz, Alan's old pals.
Okay.
They're all doing that. Good.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I think there's a newer band at the UK called The Pineapple Thief that they just did a few days ago, or I think it was last week. They did, in their studio, they did a live concert, and tickets. And you could
Really?
yeah.
Was it Rosfest the same time as us, remember? Pineapple
no.
played at Rosfest the same time as us, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was last Thursday they did it, and it was live, and then I guess part of the package is you got to watch the concert over and over as many times during the weekend before they took it offline. But that might be something to do, especially for people such as myself that wouldn't be able to get over to your concerts. And also
like Paul and Neil. Paul and Neil wouldn't be able to go over the concert.
No, that's problematic. Yeah, is it if our guitarist and current vocalist are living in
Cambodia?
Cambodia.
Yeah,
and the trouble is, if they leave Cambodia, they've got to pay $2,000 to get back in. Don't think they can afford it.
Maybe do it like Jesse Ray's infamous concert, where he used the internet and had the band playing in the club in New York, and Jesse Ray was singing in the bar in Glasgow, and it was streamed live. Luckily, I was at that gig and witnessed it. Whether you like Jesse Ray is a different matter, but it was Bernie Worrell, the whole lot. It was quite an experience.
I've
gone.
Hi, Graeme.
I've gone at the same time. Right, Ron, brilliant. Thanks very much, mate.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Guys. Cheers,
We should do this again. See you all, guys.
Okay.
See you, Graeme.
Hey,
Good to see you, mate.
Bye.
7% and dropping fast. You'll maybe get a word in, Mike.
I know. Oh, he's back.
He's back.
That chance of that now.
You told me it'd be like the pub. Cheers. You never get a word in a pub.
I'm amazed Mike hasn't had a beer.
Is it beer o'clock yet? Is it beer o'clock?
It's beer o'clock now, Mike.
I'm going to get a beer o'clock in case you're not there when I get back, Graeme. Good to see you again. Talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, okay.
Cheers.
See you, Ron.
All right,
We'll catch up again sometime.
Oh, yes. Yeah. We can do this again, anytime you guys want to do it.
Yeah, sounds good. Oh, I'm down to 0.
Okay. Take it easy. Thank you.
See ya.
Cheers. Cheers, guys. 3, 2, 1.
See you.
Dusty bin. Mind Dusty bin? That's it.
See you guys.
Good night, guys. Take good care. Cheers now.
You too.
Nice to meet
Thank
you, Ron.
Nice to meet
Take
you.
care. And you. Stay safe, mate. Cheers. Say hi to Mike when he gets back. We'll be here.
Oh, I sure will.
Take care.
All right, we're just waiting for Mike to return. That was really nice to have Euan join us. I didn't want to put that on the bill just in case he didn't, and then but I thought that was a special guest. And for Mike to return back, and thank you everybody that's joins my shows, past one, present one, and the future ones that are coming out. Like I said earlier, I'm doing this for the bands and the artists. I want to give them more exposure than free exposure. So I can, talk about their gigs and stuff, and their music, and any funny stories, like quite a few ones. So, I'll just take this opportunity to let you know that May is going to be a really full house, a lot of different bands and musicians. And Mike's back. Yeah,
There you go again. Last man standing.
yeah, Well, Graeme, his went down to 0%, and I think Euan went down to 0%. So they had to bow out, and that was like I just said while you were off. I just said that was the special surprise guest because I didn't want to tell people that he was going to be there in case he wasn't. So. I
mean, that's the first time I've seen Euan for, I've no idea how many years. Yeah, it's like decades. So it was particularly good to see it. I know Graeme was really excited when he saw him, Although, I mean, he's done some, he'd done a couple of gigs along with Alan not too long ago, obviously before the pandemic, etc. and so on. I mean, the last time I played with the band was 2004 at Progeny, with IQ as well, which was in London.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw IQ 2004 when they played Baja, Prague, and Mexicali.
Yeah.
That was the second time I've seen them. And still had, basically it was the same lineup from 93, 2004. And then when the next time I saw them, I think it was still, no, it was a different lineup in 2009. I think the drummer, Cookie, was out, and then he had Anthony Edwards drum. And then I think and then in 2012, I want to say, I don't remember if Martin was still in the band or not.
2012.
I think
Possibly.
he was.
Yeah.
And I think it was like a few years later he left, and they got. I remember. I don't remember the keyboard's name, the newest one, but I remember a band that he had. It was called Spear 3 with the little tiny 3 at the top.
Right, I never saw that one.
And I remember that being advertised, and I never got around to getting it. And I'm sure long out of print, and probably won't be in print again, unless there's enough demand for it.
Yeah, we've actually, I mean, even when I was with Pallas, I can remember 3 festivals we did where IQ was on the bill with us. Whitfield Festival in England, the one that I just mentioned, at Progeny at Astoria, and then one where we had Fish as well, which was Uden in the Netherlands, which is in 93, that was.
93 was a big year for a lot of bands, it's like, and then a few years later, the Swedish revival that they, with Flower Kings and bands like that coming out, and it was like, it was just amazing how, you had the British scene, then you have the Scandinavian scene, you had different scenes in Europe, and then you had, I don't really think America had that big of a prog scene. It was more, it was more rock oriented stuff. But it's like the prog music back then, they weren't really marketing as prog, they were just marketing as rock bands.
Yeah.
And I remember my first time when I got music that actually I cared about was in 1980, when one of my best friends at my birthday, he gave me Rush's Permanent Waves on cassette. And at that time, I didn't know who these people were. And I was going, why why are you giving me this? And after I listened to it, I understood why he gave it to me. You know, I guess he thought, that I needed to hear that. And from that time forth up until the 90s is when I really started getting into the prog. I mean,
yeah,
going down rabbit holes and everything. Countless bands. We had this over in Redondo Beach out in Southern California. There was this guy that had like a little record shop. It was just so small you can barely fit 10 people in there at a time.
Yeah.
And he would be playing on his stereo system different CDs that he was selling, and he was so cool about it. And he goes, if anything in the cabinet that's open, if you want to hear it, I'll put it on the stereo. And there was several stuff like Camel, Mirage he played.
Yeah, great.
And
I love Camel.
And I instantly, okay, I want to buy that one. Every time he put something on, it's like I usually would buy it. If I had the money, I would buy it. And those kind of stores are gone. We don't.
Yeah,
have any.
no, I know.
I mean, I love those small shops. I mean, I worked in a record shop like that, where you got for here in the States, you got the imports from England and Europe. You got all the from Canada and Mexico and South America. You've got all these imports of bands, and it was so. I look forward every week, whatever we get like a piece of paper faxed in saying this is what's going to be available, in the store next week. And it was like some of the stuff, bands like they did something like that,
Yeah.
And it's just fantastic, working in a record shop.
Yeah.
Those
were the days. What's interesting is what I actually took a few pictures off of this, the Euan gig that we did with IQ and Fish, etc. I think there. So you can see Graeme on the double neck, Alan Reid on vocals, me keys, Neil Matheson on guitar, and Derek Foreman on drums, and there's the keyboard rig.
Oh wow!
Everyone was going down to 2 keyboards those days. I had 11. It's getting a bit crazy, as you can see.
Oh yeah.
And back in the days.
Right.
But the thing about the Euan gig is that I recently was given a film, really good quality of it, of the whole concert. So I remember I was telling you a couple of weeks, I've got an album coming out, which is turned into actually a DVD or a film once it's finished, because someone said they wanted to hear this song played by Pallas, so I could magic it up so it looked like Pallas are playing, even though they hadn't actually played it, called Exordium. But I also have original recordings that we'd done with Great Linford Manor with Harry Maloney, our manager, which was supposed to be our album that was going to be coming out about 93-ish. But unfortunately, the wheels fell off the truck before we actually got it out. So there's these great tracks that no one's actually heard yet. So when this album comes out, which hopefully will be later this year, Graeme's going to sing on a couple of the new tracks that I've written. And we'll have this, it's about an hour and a half film, and it's the whole history of Pallas from even way before Euan, from 1974. So it's got every single member of the band in. So, it's like a revolving door in some cases with me and Ronnie, like him taking over, me taking over, etc., etc. So I think people are going to find that quite exciting, because no one actually knows the whole history of Pallas, So there you go.
it's nice to be able to, you know, get something like that, you know, document of the band, because, you know, no one else is going to do it except for you.
Yeah, I realize that. And luckily,
but by you doing it, you have the full control of how it's going to be presented.
Well, originally it was just going to be my solo album, because Prog magazine, Jerry Ewing says, you promised in 1986 you were going to do your solo album. He says, oh, I'm still working on it, but it's sort of progressed since then. And it's got all the members of Pallas in it, which is pretty amazing. And just to go, see if I can find an early one. I'll take one more photograph. Just see, this is from the film. And we've got some footage as well. That one. And this was when we were down to a 4-piece, auditioning vocalists. You like this? Bit Pink Floydish. And that was Dave Holt on guitar, me on keyboards, Graeme on bass, because he stayed the whole time, and Ali Milne on drums at that time. So it's quite amazing going through all the pictures right up to now, you know.
Yeah, just a nice visual history of all the.
And audio. There's lots of tracks on it.
Oh, good.
And that people haven't heard, and they're from the studio. So the studio recording tracks, as well as we've got one recorded in 1979 that we recorded in the garage. Very, very, very long track called Me Through You, with a huge long keyboard solo a la Cinema Show or something like that. So it's going to be fun. It's great to hear all these things from back then. I'll let you know when it comes out.
Oh yeah, we'll promote it.
Cool. And in the meantime, the other ones you got to look forward to is Jeff Green Project.
Yes, yes.
He's got a new album which I'll be playing on. Alan Reed has his third album, solo album he's doing. And because of the lockdown, we're not getting any of this done at the moment. There's also John Wetton's box set, which I'm on because I used to play with John, which will be coming out quite soon. So there's a few things in the work to look forward to.
You know, I guess a lot of people who know me know John Wetton is one of my all-time favorite vocalists. It's just something about his vocals that every time, whether it was the prog stuff that he did or the more, you know, commercial stuff that he did, didn't matter. It's just his voice just carried the song, no matter what was going on in the background, you know.
What was interesting, because you were talking about Martin Wedge from IQ, because he actually played with John for a while. Yes. And then I did some gigs with him. He actually asked me to go to Japan on one, but that one didn't happen. But we're all on the albums, and Clive Nolan as well from Arena and Pendragon. He's on the, and John Mitchell also from Arena and Frost and It Bites. So yeah, we all hang out together. It's great.
Frost.
There you go.
got that box set that they put out just recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see John Wetton in 1997, and Martin was with them. I don't remember who the guitar player. I think it was another John.
Where was that?
Prog Fest in Los Angeles.
All right. Okay.
And I remember that. Watching them live, it's like it was the first time I get to see, you know, I would say one of my heroes up on stage. And then after the after show, you know, after hours on the hotel across the street, I found out that Martin was staying there, and I just ran into him, and we spoke from like 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. You know, right in there was a little patio section, and we were just talking about, you know, what he's doing with IQ, and you know, and I at the time I had to ask, you know, whenever the new one was coming out, you know, about the big epics, and he goes, we don't go into the studio with that in mind. He said the song became a 20-minute song. He says that's because it happened. It wasn't something that we preconceived. It's like, okay, well, we need to have the standard 20-minute prog epic, there's a lot of bands that's what they think that they have to do in order to have their credentials. We call the prog band. Well, I have to have, every album has to have a 20-minute song.
Of course.
Even though, and some of them sound great, and some of them is like, oh, you're like going, is it gonna be over? And it's like, to me, just do stuff that is natural. If you get a 20-minute or even a 30-minute song out of it, that's great. Just don't force it. There was that band I was telling you about, Echolin. A few years back, they did an album, one track, and was 48 minutes. But when you listen to it, doesn't seem like 48 minutes. It feels like it was about a 5 or 6 minute song, and when it's over, it's like you want more, so you repeat the album. So it's like, it's really, I think those long songs should come by accident, not by design.
Yeah, it's like that song I pinged over to you a long time from now, Jeff Green Project. That's about the longest one he's got on the album, but it's pretty long, good 7 or 9 minutes.
But it felt natural how it just went throughout the whole thing. It didn't felt like it was a forced piece, like he was like going, okay, well, I got to do that 20-minute song, and it's like, it didn't feel forced. Everything.
And the thing about it was we played it at the Classic Rock Society a couple of times, which is a big festival, a little bit north of London. And that song just went down so huge with the crowd. It was just amazing,
I remember, I think, the Classic Rock Society, they used to have a little magazine, and for a while I was subscribing to it, but then it started getting too expensive, so I just let the subscription go. But it was,
Rick Waitman was the honorary president or something of it, and Martin Hudson used to run it, and then it's taken over by other people. And eventually it died. We were lucky to do one of the last gigs up in Rotherham.
Yeah, I had a couple of the people that, I was, at that time, this was pre-internet, so I was contacting IQ by fax. and then one day I got really brave, and I asked to talk to him on the phone, and it was just a weird experience to hear someone on the phone that far away. I had never heard anybody that far away, but it was just contacting band, faxing over things, and they fax back, and it was like, running up the phone bill because going back and forth.
It's so much easier now on Zoom, isn't it? Not.
Oh yeah.
Except for last week.
But I think Zoom is relatively a new thing, so it's going to have its little quirks. How we were doing this past Sunday, but I'm glad we got a chance to redo it.
And great that we got Euan in as well. So that'll pick up a good few fans. So on that, so on that, now I was going to say I've got to get this track out for tomorrow. So I'm actually in the boiler room, as you can see, Mini Moog and all that sort of stuff. So I got to get back to work.
Okay, well, thank you again for
Thank
taking
you.
the time out.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
And I look forward to the DVD, and everybody else out there that knows Pallas will be looking forward to that. And of course, I'll promote it because
Cool.
it's music that I love.
Cool. Excellent.
All right. Well, thank you again, Mike, for joining me.
You're welcome, Ron.
And I'll be talking to you soon then.
Yep. Take care. Bye, all.
All right, you too. Bye.